My name is Chloe Morgan. I'm 26 years old, and I never thought I'd say this out loud, but the best thing that ever happened to my love life was my almost boyfriend's roommate. Yeah, I know how that sounds. If you saw us now, me and Noah, you'd probably think we were just another normal couple. We take stupid selfies at brunch, complain about our jobs, argue over which Netflix show to watch. Very boring, very ordinary, very labeled. But a year ago, I was stuck in something that wasn't a relationship and wasn't casual either. A limbo that people online like to dress up with cute names. A situationship. And it all started the night I met Ethan. It was one of those cramped city apartments that shouldn't be able to hold more than 10 people, but somehow had 30. Music too loud. Beer pong in the kitchen. Someone screaming about a lost vape. I was sitting on the arm of a couch, half looking for an excuse to leave, when I noticed him. He was the only person not performing for attention. Tall, messy, dark hair, sitting back on the couch with one ankle over his knee, scrolling through his phone. Not in a "I'm too cool for this" way. More like he was genuinely entertained by whatever he was watching. I edged closer, pretending to adjust my skirt, and glanced at his screen. A TikTok. A guy rating different types of pasta like it was a wine tasting. I snorted, couldn't help it. He looked up at me, caught my eye, and smirked. "You're judging my For You page, aren't you?" he said. His voice was easy, confident, like we were already mid-conversation. "I'm evaluating," I said. "Strong carb-based content. I approve." He laughed, shifted over, and tilted his phone toward me. "Come on then, critic. Let's see what your algorithm thinks you are as a person." I hesitated for half a second, then pulled out my phone. We spent the next hour trading TikToks. Cooking fails, dog videos, chaotic roommate sketches. Every time he laughed, I felt this weird little spark, like I'd just won something. Everyone else was dancing, playing games, getting drunker by the minute. It felt like we were in our own bubble at the edge of the room. I didn't even get his number that night. We got interrupted by some group selfie moment, people yelling names, pulling us apart. The party started breaking up around 2 a.m. I left with my friend Jenna, and on the walk down the stairs I realized I didn't know his name. Just that he had an opinion about every pasta shape and a laugh I could still hear in my head. The next day, my phone buzzed. "Jenna, BTW, that guy you were glued to all night? Ethan. Here's his number. You're welcome." I stared at the text for a full minute. I'm not the type to double text strangers. I'm the type who drafts a message, deletes it, and convinces myself I'm letting things happen naturally when actually I'm just scared. This time, though, I didn't overthink it. Me. "So, what's your stance on penne? Deal breaker or acceptable?" Chloe from the pasta symposium last night. I put my phone down, forced myself to walk away, and started making coffee. 3 hours later, he replied, "Ethan, penne is fine. Overhyped, but fine. Also, hi Chloe from the symposium. Want to continue this debate over coffee sometime?" I knew I should play it cool. Wait, pretend I wasn't hovering over my phone like it contained the meaning of life. I lasted 8 minutes. Me. "Coffee sounds good. Just don't order penne in front of me. I'll lose respect." We set a day. Wednesday after work. A small cafe downtown with wobbly tables and plants that looked like they were barely hanging on. I told myself it was just coffee, a chat with the pasta guy. But coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into drinks. Drinks turned into us walking around the city until 2 o'clock a.m. It felt weirdly cinematic. We talked about everything. Music, movies, our families, how he'd grown up in a small town and moved here to work as a designer. He pulled up his portfolio on his phone, scrolling through sleek logos and mock-ups. I was expecting to nod politely and pretend to be impressed. I wasn't expecting his work to actually be good. "This one's yours?" I asked, zooming in on a brand redesign I'd seen in the wild. He ran a hand over the back of his neck, suddenly shy. "Yeah, they hated the first 3 versions. That's the one they paid for." "It's really good," I said, and I meant it. He looked at me then, like he was trying to figure out if I was just being nice. "You're in sales, right?" he asked. "Tech something?" "Tech sales," I said. "I convince people to buy software they're already halfway sold on. I'm the closer." "So you're scary," he said. I laughed. "Only if you're my quarterly target." By the time he walked me to my car, my cheeks hurt from smiling. He didn't kiss me, just tucked his hands into his jacket pockets and said, "I'd like to see you again, Chloe Morgan." He remembered my last name. I remembered that. The second date was supposed to be simple. He texted, "Sushi?" and I said yes before I even checked my calendar. The first time we tried to meet, he canceled an hour before. Something came up with work. I'm so sorry. Rain check? It was fine. Things happen. I told myself not to read into it. We rescheduled for Thursday. He showed up 10 minutes late, slightly breathless, hair still damp from the shower. He apologized, made some joke about his boss being allergic to deadlines. I waved it off. We ordered way too much food. He kept suggesting new rolls. Have you tried this one? Trust me, this is good. He didn't look at prices. I did, then pretended I didn't. When the bill came, I reached for my card out of habit. He didn't let me. Nope, he said, sliding his card down. You can get it next time. Next time. I filed that away like evidence in a case I didn't know I would need later. We went back to his place afterward. That was when I met his roommate for the first time. A guy about our age, brown hair, quiet eyes, laptop open at the kitchen table. This is Noah, Ethan said. He's the responsible one. Noah gave me a small smile, nodding like he was used to being introduced that way. Nice to meet you, I said. You too, he replied, then went back to whatever he was doing. I barely thought about him after that. At the time, he was just background noise. The roommate. A piece of the set. Ethan put on a movie. We didn't finish it. You can fill in the blanks. I went home around midnight. Hair messy, lips sore, heart stupidly light. Third date, he invited me to a concert, some indie band I'd never heard of. I already got the tickets, he said over text. You in? I offered to transfer him half. Don't worry about it, he replied. Just show up. The show was good. Loud, sweaty, people pressed too close. At one point, he moved behind me, his hands on my shoulders, his lips brushing my ear as he shouted the lyrics off key. I should have been annoyed. I wasn't. Afterward, we went back to his place again. Noah was gone that weekend, apparently at his sister's. The apartment felt strangely quiet without the tap of keys from the kitchen. Things escalated. You get the idea. The next morning, he made coffee, standing barefoot in the kitchen, hair sticking up, pouring milk like he'd done it 1,000 times for other women before me. I tried not to think about that. We sat on the couch for 2 hours, talking like we had all the time in the world. It felt easy, comfortable, safe. And that's when something shifted for me. I started thinking, this could be something. Of course, that's also when things started getting weird. After that weekend, his responses got slower. Where he used to reply in minutes, now it was hours. Where he used to suggest plans, now I was the one starting the conversations. He always had a reason. Busy week, client from hell, deadlines. Always just enough detail to sound believable. When we did see each other, it was almost always late at night. Always at his place. Never brunch, never a daytime coffee, never a, hey, my friend's party, want to come with? I ignored the tightness in my chest when I scrolled through my own calendar and realized every memory of him existed after 9 p.m. I'd been in relationships before, normal ones. We went grocery shopping together, met each other's friends, sat on opposite ends of the couch, scrolling our phones in comfortable silence. This was not that, but it felt like it could be if I just gave it time. One night, we were lying in his bed, his arm draped over my waist, the room lit only by the blue glow of his alarm clock. The question slipped out before I could stop it. So, what are we doing here, Ethan? He hummed like he hadn't heard me properly. What do you mean? I stared up at the ceiling. I mean, are we dating? My voice sounded smaller than I wanted. Are you my boyfriend? There was a beat of silence. I felt his arm stiffen slightly against my stomach. He exhaled. I don't really do labels, he said. The words dropped between us like ice water. What does that mean? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. It means, he said slowly, like he was explaining something obvious. I like what we have. I don't see why we need to define it. Labels just complicate things, make people act weird. I've seen it ruin good connections. Connections, like we were two devices on Bluetooth. I swallowed. So you don't want to be my boyfriend, I said, quieter now. He tightened his arm around me, kissed my shoulder. Hey, he murmured. You stand right here with me. Isn't that enough? It wasn't, but I didn't say that. Instead, I let the moment pass, let the silence swallow my question, let his warmth and the weight of his arm convince me that maybe I was overreacting, maybe I was being clingy, maybe wanting to know where I stood was some kind of flaw. Okay, I said finally, let's just see where it goes. He smiled against my skin. That's why I like you, he whispered. You get it. The truth was, I didn't get it. I just really wanted to. And I had no idea that one simple sentence, I don't really do labels, was the first crack in something that was never as real as I thought it was. If you've never been in a situationship, here's how it works. Nothing is official, nothing is defined. and somehow everything still hurts. After that night in his bed, the "I don't really do labels" conversation, I told myself I could handle it, that I was modern and chill and not one of those clingy women who needed a title to feel secure. I repeated his words to myself like they were reasonable. Labels complicate things. Labels make people act weird. Labels ruin good connections. But over the next few months, I realized something he forgot to mention. Lack of labels? That complicates things too. By month 3, Ethan and I had a routine, if you can call it that. Days would go by with nothing but the occasional meme from him. No, how's your day? No, wanna grab lunch? Just a random TikTok of a guy falling off a scooter, a reel about terrible bosses. I'd laugh, send something back, and wait for a real conversation that never came. Then, usually around 10:30 or 11 p.m., I'd get the text. You up? What are you doing? Want to come over? And I'd stare at my phone every time, pretending I was thinking about it. The truth, I always wanted to see him. Sometimes I said yes. Sometimes I forced myself to say no, telling him I was tired or had an early meeting. On those nights, I'd lie awake in my own bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if some other girl had said yes instead. I never asked. I already knew I wouldn't like the answer. His social media didn't help. There he was on Instagram, smiling in group photos, tagged at rooftop bars and art shows, always surrounded by people. And never, not once me. I wasn't in a single post, not even a blurry background cameo, not even a story. I told myself I didn't care. I wasn't a teenager. I didn't need to be plastered all over his feed to feel real. But that didn't stop the sting when I saw someone else taking up space where I didn't. One night, I was lying on my couch, scrolling, when I noticed her. The same username under different posts. You look so good. We still on for next week? He'd reply with laughing emojis, inside jokes, and once a can't wait, oh man. My stomach twisted. I clicked her profile. Pretty. Of course. Dark hair, sharp eyeliner, a highlight bubble labeled Ethan that was suspiciously empty. I stared at that little circle for a long time. The next time I saw him, we were at his place. Takeout containers spread on the coffee table. Some random show playing in the background that neither of us was really watching. Hey, I said casually, scrolling on my phone. Who's Natalie? He glanced over from where he was picking at his noodles. Who? Natalie, I repeated, showing him the comments. She seems enthusiastic. He smirked. She's just a friend from college. She comments on everyone's stuff. It's not a big deal. She said, still on for next week? I said, kept my tone light. Sounds like a pretty specific kind of friendship. He rolled his eyes like I was being dramatic. Chloe, seriously. She's harmless. Don't be jealous. It's not a good look. It was such a small sentence. Harmless on the surface. Poison underneath. I closed my mouth, swallowed every comeback that wanted to claw its way out, and nodded. I'm not jealous, I said. Just curious. He leaned over, kissed the side of my head. Relax, he murmured. You're overthinking. We're good. The thing is, when you really want something to be good, you'll accept almost any reassurance. Even the most flimsy. By month 4, the tension between us wasn't just under the surface anymore. It was everywhere. We'd been doing this, whatever it was, for 4 months. I had toothbrush at his place, a sweatshirt of his permanently forgotten at mine, a playlist on my phone named after a joke he made on our second date. But I couldn't call him my boyfriend. I didn't know if I was allowed to be upset about the way he talked to other girls. I didn't know if I was supposed to act chill when he canceled plans an hour before with a vague, something came up. I couldn't even vent properly to my friends because every conversation started with, well, are you two actually together? And I'd have to say, I don't know, which already made me feel pathetic. The night it finally blew up, we were in his bedroom again. Of course we were. It was around 1 a.m. The sheets were twisted around our legs. The room smelled like his cologne and my shampoo. His phone lit up on the nightstand, screen flashing with a name I didn't recognize. He flipped it face down without even looking at it. Something inside me snapped. Are we exclusive? I asked. He blinked, like I'd switched languages on him. What? Exclusive, I repeated, sitting up, pulling the sheet with me. Are you seeing other people? He sighed, dragging a hand over his face. Chloe, this again? This again, I repeated, my voice rising. We've literally never had this conversation. I've hinted. I've asked what we are. You said you don't do labels. I let that go. But are you seeing other people? He stared at the ceiling as if searching for patience in the plaster. I think that's a restrictive way to think about relationships, he said finally. I laughed. It came out sharp and humorless. Restrictive. Yes, he said, sitting up now, frustration flickering across his features. Why do we need to box everything in? Why does it matter what I do when I'm not with you? Because I'm sleeping with you, I shot back. Because I'm emotionally invested. Because I'm not casually dating 3 other guys. I just want to know if I'm the only one. I don't see why my private life has to be dissected like this, he said. It's suffocating. Suffocating? My chest felt tight. Wanting to know if you're sleeping with other people isn't suffocating, Ethan. It's basic respect. His jaw clenched. I didn't say I was seeing anyone else, he said slowly. You also won't say you're not, I replied. We stared at each other, the air between us buzzing. This is exactly why I don't do labels, he said finally. Too much pressure, too many expectations. People start acting like they own you. I've never tried to own you, I whispered. I've just been trying to figure out if I matter to you. He looked away. I think I need some space, he said. There it was, the classic line. I felt my throat close up. Every part of me wanted to negotiate, to fix it, to make myself smaller so he'd stay. Instead, I nodded. Okay, I said, take all the space you need. I got dressed in silence, his eyes flicking toward me and away again, like he wanted to say something but didn't. I left without kissing him goodbye. I didn't hear from him for a week. 7 days of checking my phone more than I'd ever admit out loud. 7 days of overanalyzing every interaction we'd had, trying to figure out if I'd pushed too hard, if I'd ruined something that could have been good. On day 8 at 11:07 p.m., my phone buzzed. Ethan, you up? I stared at the screen. My heart leapt first, then my stomach dropped to drag it back down. I didn't answer. An hour later, I miss you. I tried to be strong. I really did. But I was tired and lonely, and my bed felt too big. So I caved. I went over. We didn't talk about what happened. We didn't talk about labels, or exclusivity, or Instagram, or late-night texts from other women. We just fell back into each other, like nothing had changed. Afterward, he fell asleep quickly, breathing slow and even. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling, feeling like someone had taken all my self-respect and wrung it out over his sheets. What am I doing? I whispered to the darkness. The room didn't answer. The decision came a few weeks later. It wasn't one big moment. It was a slow accumulation of small ones. Questions dodged, plans canceled, late-night invitations that felt more like summons than gestures of care. I was sitting on the edge of his bed one night, waiting for him to come out of the bathroom. His phone lay next to me, screen lit, no passcode. It buzzed with a notification. Tinder. My chest went cold. I hadn't known for sure he still used it. I had suspected, wondered, imagined. Now the app icon was right there, mocking me. My hand moved before my brain did. I picked up his phone, thumb hovering over the screen like I could stop myself if I wanted to. I tapped Tinder. His profile popped up instantly. New photos, one from last week. Bio. Looking for something fun and casual. Status. Last active 2 hours ago. The room tilted. I felt my heart drop into my stomach and then keep falling, down past the floor, into some place where everything was heavy and sticky and hard to breathe. My vision blurred for a second. I put the phone back exactly where I'd found it, screen down, as if I could erase what I'd just seen by pretending I hadn't seen it. He came out of the bathroom a moment later, towel around his neck, running a hand through his hair. You okay? He asked, noticing my face. I forced a smile so hard my cheeks hurt. Yeah, I said softly. Just tired. I should probably head out. Early start tomorrow. You can stay, he offered, frowning a little. No, I said quickly. It's fine. I'll call a ride. He shrugged, kissed my forehead like we were something gentle and safe. Text me when you get home, he said. I nodded, walked out, and didn't trust myself to look back. I sat in my car outside my building for 20 minutes that night. Engine off, keys in my lap, hands on the steering wheel. There's a kind of silence that isn't peaceful. It's loud. It's full of every thought you've tried not to think. He has a dating app. He's active. He's been looking for fun and casual while I've been trying to convince myself that almost boyfriend is better than no boyfriend at all. The next morning, my decision felt clear in a way nothing about him ever had. I picked up my phone. We need to talk. The 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Ethan, about what? I stared at those 3 words, anger bubbling up to mix with hurt. About us. There was a longer pause this time. Ethan, there is no us, Chloe, remember? No labels. That's what you wanted. Something inside me snapped into place. No, that's what you wanted. I just went along with it. He replied, I don't want to have this conversation over text. Of course he didn't. Over text, he couldn't charm his way out of it. Over text, there was a written record. Fine, let's meet up. A minute, two, five. Ethan, I'm busy this week. Of course you are. I stared at the screen, feeling a strange calm settle over me. Me, don't bother then. I'm done, Ethan. I blocked his number, deleted our thread, removed him from my social media, stared at the empty screens like they were freshly cleaned wounds. That should have been the end. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, an unknown number lit up my phone. Unknown, Chloe, it's Ethan. Can we talk? And just like that, the ghost of our unlabeled, almost relationship came knocking again. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence so absolute it felt engineered. 2 weeks of convincing myself I'd finally closed the door on Ethan, locked it, deadbolted it, and thrown the key into the ocean. So when an unknown number texted me, "It's Ethan, can we talk?" I stared at my phone for a long, long minute. I didn't reply. I wasn't going to. I'd made a decision. I was done. But decisions are easy in theory. They're a lot harder when the person you cared about refuses to vanish the way you need them to. A second text buzzed through. "I miss you." My throat tightened, but I ignored it. Then, "I think I made a mistake. Please, just talk to me." Still nothing. He called. I declined. He called again. Declined. He called a third time, and I threw my phone onto the couch like it was burning me. A minute later, voicemail. Then another voicemail. Then another. I didn't listen to any of them. Finally, I texted back. Not because I wanted to, but because anger had a way of sharpening me when sadness dulled me. Me. Childish as stringing someone along for 5 months while you're active on Tinder. A pause. Then, "Ethan, I can explain." I stared at the message, felt my jaw clench, and typed back. Me. "I don't want an explanation. I'm done." Ethan. "Can we talk in person?" Me. "There's nothing to talk about." Ethan. "Please, Chloe." I didn't care, or I told myself I didn't. Same thing. At 10 p.m. that night, someone buzzed my building's door. I looked through the peephole. Ethan. Of course. I opened the door only halfway, leaving the chain on. He looked different. Not in a dramatic movie heartbreak way, not puffy-eyed or devastated. More like someone who'd finally realized something they should have figured out months ago. His voice was quiet. "Can I come in?" "No." My tone didn't waver. "Say whatever you want to say right here." He frowned. "Not in the hallway." "That's all I'm offering." He looked around, like the bare beige hallway walls were betraying him. Then he tried a softer approach. "I didn't realize how much you meant to me until you left." I blinked, unimpressed. "That's convenient timing." "I know I messed up," he said. "The Tinder thing was stupid. I wasn't actually meeting anyone. I just liked the attention. I've been in a weird place. I have commitment issues. I'm working on them." The excuses washed over me like lukewarm water. I felt nothing. "Cool," I said. He blinked. "Cool?" "Yeah, cool." He ran a hand through his hair. "Chloe, I'm saying I want to try again. For real this time." I raised an eyebrow. "Try what?" "A relationship," he said, almost pleading. "An actual relationship." "Oh," I said softly. "Now you want a relationship?" He swallowed. "Yes." I tilted my head, studying him like a stranger. "Why now?" "Because," he hesitated, "because I miss you." I let that hang for a moment. Then, "You miss having someone available when you're bored." His expression tightened. "That's not fair." "Neither was what you did," I said. "Ethan, I'm done." And I closed the door. He knocked. I didn't open it. He texted. I didn't answer. He called. I let it ring. For a week, he sent long paragraphs. Remorse, explanations, self-reflection, promises. "I know I pushed you away. I'm trying to be better. I've been scared of labels because of my past. You were different, Chloe. Please don't give up on what we had." I deleted them as soon as they came in. By day 7, he finally stopped. And I thought that was it. That this strange, non-linear breakup was complete. But fate, or irony, or the universe's twisted humor, had other plans. Because 3 weeks after I cut him out completely, I ran into his roommate. It was a Saturday morning. The kind where sunlight is too bright and everything feels like it needs a filter. I was in line at a cafe, craving caffeine, wearing leggings and a hoodie because I hadn't expected to see anyone who mattered. Then I felt someone shift next to me. I turned and froze. Noah, Ethan's quiet, laptop-obsessed roommate. He blinked in recognition. "Hey, Chloe, right?" "Yeah," I said. "Hi." The silence threatened to turn awkward, so I added, "How's it going?" He gave a little shrug. "Pretty good. You?" "Surviving," I said. It came out more honest than I planned. We both stepped up to order. He got a black coffee. I got a latte I probably didn't need. Then, unexpectedly, he gestured to an empty table. "You want to sit?" he asked. If that's not weird. I hesitated only because I suddenly wasn't sure which parts of his life Ethan had poisoned. "Not weird," I said finally. We sat, and something strange happened. Talking to Noah wasn't awkward at all. He wasn't loud or charismatic like Ethan. He didn't talk over me or perform confidence. He asked questions, actually listened, nodded, responded thoughtfully. He didn't flirt. He didn't push. He just talked. Eventually, he asked gently, "So, what happened with you and Ethan?" I sighed. "Short version or long?" "Whichever helps you get it off your chest," he said, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. So I told him. Not everything. Not the whole humiliating saga. Just the highlights. The inconsistencies. The late-night meetups. The labels conversation. The Tinder profile. Noah listened, eyebrows pulling together, expression a mix of sympathy and unsurprised resignation. "Yeah," he said when I finished. "That sounds like Ethan." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He took a sip of his black coffee, sighed. "He does this a lot. Has someone around, but never actually commits. Keeps things blurry. Gets weird if they ask for clarity, then gets even weirder when they give up and move on." My stomach twisted. "So I wasn't special?" I asked quietly, trying not to sound pathetic. "No," he said gently. "Not in the way he made you feel special. But he did like you. He just likes the validation more." I exhaled slowly. We talked for almost an hour. About work, about our families, about how he was finally moving out next month because, in his words, living with Ethan is exhausting. He creates chaos, like it's his side job. When we got up to leave, I hesitated. It was impulsive, entirely unplanned, and maybe a little reckless. But something in me needed a fresh start. Something gentle, something real. So I asked, "Do you want to get dinner sometime?" Noah blinked. "With me?" I gave a half smile. "Unless you know another Noah standing behind you?" He laughed softly, surprised. "No, it's just, I didn't think you'd want that. But yeah, I'd like that." We swapped numbers. He smiled as he walked away. I watched him go. And for the first time in months, something inside me shifted. Not a spark, not adrenaline. Something steadier. Hope. What I didn't know then? Our little coffee shop moment, sweet, delicate, unplanned, was about to detonate the quietest, messiest, most ironic explosion I'd ever seen. Because the night I went to pick Noah up for our date, Ethan answered the door. I don't know what I expected when I drove to Ethan and Noah's apartment that Friday night. Maybe an awkward greeting from Noah in the hallway. Maybe the faint smell of pizza and old carpet. Maybe the hope that whatever this was, this new connection, might actually feel different. But I definitely didn't expect him to open the door. Ethan, standing there like a ghost I'd accidentally summoned. His eyebrows shot up so fast they almost touched his hairline. Chloe? His voice wasn't angry, just stunned, confused, a little possessive, like someone had moved something he secretly believed belonged to him. I stood there holding my purse strap, heartbeat in my ears. I managed a polite, neutral, "Hi." Before he could ask anything else, Noah appeared behind him, running a hand through his hair, grabbing his jacket from the hook. "Hey, Chloe," Noah said with a small smile. "Ready?" Ethan whipped his head between us like he was watching a tennis match. "Wait, you're going out? Together?" Noah nodded casually. "Yeah, dinner." Ethan's face did a full glitch. "With her?" he demanded, pointing at me like I'd materialized out of smoke and betrayal. I lifted an eyebrow. "Well, I didn't just teleport here, Ethan." He ignored that. His eyes darted to Noah. "You didn't tell me you two—" Noah shrugged. "Didn't think I needed to." It was subtle, but I saw Ethan's jaw clench. He stepped closer, lowering his voice like he thought whispering would make this less humiliating for him. "Chloe, can we talk, just for a sec?" I matched his quiet tone. "No, we've already talked." Noah stepped slightly in front of me, not in a possessive way, but in a protective, "we're not doing this tonight" kind of way. "Come on," he said, gently nudging the door shut behind him. "We have reservations." We walked down the hallway, and I swear I could feel Ethan's eyes burning holes through my back until the elevator doors slid shut. Dinner with Noah was easy. Shockingly easy. No tension, no games, no unspoken rules or traps I had to tiptoe around. We sat across from each other in a small Italian restaurant where the lighting was warm and the music was soft enough to actually talk over. Noah asked questions, real ones. Not the kind Ethan asked, which always felt like prompts that led back to him. These were thoughtful. What was the last thing you painted? If you could quit your job tomorrow and do anything, what would it be? Are you close with your brother? What's something you're proud of that no one knows about? He listened. He laughed. A lot. He told me about growing up with sisters, about how he ended up in marketing even though he swore he'd never work in an office, about the time Ethan almost set their microwave on fire trying to reheat leftover wings in aluminum foil. He blamed the microwave, Noah said, shaking his head. Told the landlord it was faulty. I snorted into my water. By the time dessert came, I realized something simple and stunning. It felt calm. Calm in a way that made me realize how much noise Ethan had filled my life with. When we walked out of the restaurant, it was already past closing. The staff were stacking chairs, dimming lights. Noah walked me to my car. The night air was cool, gentle. There was a moment, a soft pause, where we just looked at each other. He brushed a strand of hair behind his ear, suddenly shy. "I had a really good time," he said. "Me too," I murmured. He hesitated, then leaned in. The kiss was warm, not hurried, not hungry, not a performance. Just genuine. When we pulled apart, he whispered, "Can I see you again?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "I'd like that." My phone buzzed even before I'd left the parking lot. Mia. Wait, not Mia. That was the old script's name. This was Ethan. What the hell, Chloe? Then, "You're going out with him? Unbelievable. Are you doing this to get back at me? This is childish. Seriously? My roommate? Wow, just wow." Then it escalated. He called. Once, twice, 5 times, 10. By the time I got home, I had 14 missed calls. By midnight, 28. By 2 a.m., 50. My screen was an emotional slot machine. "You're messed up for this. You're only trying to hurt me. I thought you cared about me. I can't believe you'd stoop this low. You're pathetic. I miss you. Please answer. Can we talk?" "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Chloe, please. Please." I stared at them all and felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not heartbreak. Just emptiness where his power used to be. So I wrote one text. "Me. You're right." He replied instantly. "Ethan. About what?" "Me. About us just being a situationship. So I'm free to date whoever I want, including Noah." "Ethan. Are you kidding me?" "Me. He's great, by the way. Thanks for introducing us." That's when the meltdown truly began. He didn't just call from his number. He called from his work phone, a random local number, Noah's phone, which was a bold choice, our mutual friend's phone, a number I didn't even recognize. None of them got answered. Then the tone shifted again. "You can't steal my roommate. He's only interested because you're using him. You're trying to punish me. This isn't fair. We had something real. I know I said no labels, but I didn't mean we weren't something. Answer me." I didn't. And apparently that pushed him to his last trick. He showed up at my apartment again, pounding on my door. "You're only doing this for revenge," he yelled. "Chloe, open the door." I didn't. Eventually, he shouted, "You and Noah aren't real. You're just making a point." I finally raised my voice through the door. "We're in a relationship, Ethan. You know, with labels. The thing you said was suffocating." Silence. Then footsteps retreating down the hall. I exhaled, locked the door, and let the quiet settle around me. It didn't last long, because the drama wasn't done. Ethan moved on from harassing me to harassing Noah. And then, he went after the one person he still thought he could control, Noah's soon-to-be ex-roommate, himself. If there's one thing I learned from Ethan, it's this. When a man who doesn't do labels suddenly wants to define something, it's not because he's had a spiritual awakening. It's because he's losing control. And the night after my date with Noah, Ethan lost every ounce of control he thought he still had. The meltdown expands. Once he realized I wasn't responding, Ethan changed tactics. He started texting Noah. Screenshot 1. Ethan. Noah. "Bro, she's just using you. Don't be stupid." Screenshot 2. "She's doing this to get back at me. Nothing more." Screenshot 3. "You're my friend. You don't date your friends, whatever she is." Screenshot 4. "This is messed up." Noah showed me the messages with a calm, slightly amused expression. "He thinks we're in high school," he said, shaking his head. "What did you reply?" I asked. Noah sipped his coffee and answered, "Nothing. He doesn't get to dictate my life." It was such a simple sentence, such a healthy one, and it hit me how unfamiliar that kind of boundary setting was with Ethan. The text to me became unhinged. The same night Noah ignored him, Ethan switched back to me. My phone buzzed so many times I put it face down because the notifications were stressing me out. "Ethan, are you trying to hurt me?" "Ethan, just talk to me, please." "Ethan, you owe me that." "Me, I don't owe you anything, Ethan." "Ethan, I can't believe you'd throw away what we had from my roommate." My fingers hovered. Then I typed, "Me, we didn't have anything. That was the point, remember? You don't do labels." And I left it at that. He tried calling again. I didn't answer. He tried guilt. I didn't respond. He tried anger. Still nothing. When control slipped through his fingers, he tried something else. Sudden, miraculous self-reflection. "Ethan, Chloe, I'm trying to be different. I'm in therapy now. I'm working on myself. Can't we talk?" I muted the thread. He'd said similar things before. Growth wasn't his goal. Attention was. The breaking point, for him at least. The next week, Noah packed for his move. I offered to help, because of course I did. And also because the idea of Ethan watching us carry boxes together gave me a petty satisfaction I wasn't saintly enough to deny. When we arrived, the apartment was half empty already. Noah stacked his boxes, humming softly. And Ethan? He stayed in his room. Door shut, lights off, silent. Cowardly silence, not hurt silence. Noah knocked once, out of courtesy. Ethan, I'm grabbing the last of my stuff. No answer. We took the final box to the hallway. As we were leaving, the door to Ethan's room finally cracked open. He stepped out, not looking at me, only at Noah. You're really doing this? He asked. Not angry, small, almost petulant. Yeah, Noah said simply, adjusting the box under his arm. You're choosing her over your roommate? Noah's jaw tightened. I'm choosing a life without chaos, he said. And stop calling her, call her Chloe. Ethan looked at me then, for the first time. You're breaking up our friendship, he said to me, like I'd personally shattered his childhood toys. Over a situationship? I raised an eyebrow. Interesting choice of word. Noah placed the box down, turned fully toward Ethan. You never let her be more than that, he said. That was your choice, not hers. Ethan had no comeback. Not one. He just stood there, furious and cornered by his own logic. We left without another word. A new beginning. Noah moved into his new place that afternoon. I helped unpack the basics, his plates, his desk, his embarrassingly large mug collection. When we finally collapsed on the floor, surrounded by cardboard and bubble wrap, he handed me a bottle of cheap wine. To fresh starts, he said. To labels, I replied with a smirk. He choked on his sip, laughing. Was that a shot? Maybe, I said, a tiny one. We watched a movie on his laptop, sitting shoulder to shoulder on the hardwood floor. It was simple, quiet, comfortable, and real. No guessing, no walking on eggshells, no late-night summons. Just two people choosing each other. Ethan's final attempt. 3 weeks later, we ran into Ethan at a bar. I didn't recognize him at first. He was across the room, nursing a drink, watching us the way someone watches a life they dropped, but still think they're entitled to. He approached the table. Hey, he said. Hey, we replied, perfectly in sync. He stared at us for a long moment. You guys look happy. We are, Noah said. Ethan swallowed, forced a smile so tight it looked painful. That's good, he said. I'm happy for you. He wasn't. Not even close. He left without another word. No dramatic speech, no begging, no accusations, just quiet resignation. And that somehow was the real closure. After everything. At 3 months together, Noah officially became my boyfriend. An actual, real, mutually agreed upon label. Our families know each other. We make plans more than 2 hours in advance. We post pictures together. He introduces me as his girlfriend with a small, proud smile that melts me every time. A few weeks ago, Ethan texted me from yet another new number. Ethan, so you and Noah are really dating? Me, yes. Ethan, was it worth losing me? I stared at the message for a moment, then typed, Me, I didn't lose anything. You were never mine to lose. You made sure of that. He didn't respond. What I learned. People romanticize situationships until they're in one. They're great for the person who wants options. They're hell for the person who wants clarity. Ethan wanted options, endless ones. I wanted someone who chose me. And eventually I found that in the most unexpected place. In the guy who used to quietly work at the kitchen table, who saw me, listened to me, picked me, every time. No games, no silence, no questioning. Just us, with labels,